welcome to another edition of Tasker 101 Tutorials. This is lesson 41C, and this is just sort of a tag-on lesson to take what we did in 41A and B and expand on it a little bit, show you a different way of doing things and perhaps a better way of doing things. So we set up this alarm clock, we set up a scene so that when we show the scene we could select a time of hours before we want to wake up, press hit the alarm, and it would set the alarm for us. And that's really all that did. Very simple, and it worked just fine with no problem. So why do we need to change anything? Well, with Tasker, as with any programming, you're always looking for better ways, if there is a better way, just to improve things. And I did think of a way we could change this that would improve this just a little bit. It doesn't change the way it works. It doesn't make it work any differently. But what it does is it makes it better programming practice. And I'll explain that. Let's go over to the scene itself. And so the picker, the number picker. What happened when we would select a number? You would set the variable alarm count to whatever that value was. So now you might remember we used alarm count with capital A and capital C. Why? Because in Tasker, when you use a capital letter in the variable, that makes it a global variable. What does that mean? Well, in Tasker, that means that that value, whatever value is saved in that variable, gets stored somewhere on memory permanently, so that it's always there. It'll be there for other tasks. It'll always be there. If you run the scene and you change the value, then you can change the value of that variable, but it's always there. It's never going away. In practice, it's better to use what are considered local variables, or variables that don't stay in your memory permanently unless you need them to. And with this, we only need this information until it sets that alarm. Once it sets that alarm, we don't need that variable anymore. We don't need it to be staying in memory after that. When we open or do this profile another time, we'll be selecting another hour and setting another alarm. We don't need this value to stay. We just need it as long as it sets the alarm. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how you could not use a global variable and still have this profile work just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to change alarm count. Instead of being capital A, it's going to be small a and small c. So now it's a local variable. It means it's only, this variable is only going to exist and only going to hold this information for this particular task, or in this case scene. And once that's gone, it's gone. So how do we do that? Well, set alarm. When we tap that, we perform a task. And if we open that up, you'll see when you perform that task, you have parameter options. You also have a return value variable. We're not going to talk about that today, but these are parameters, information, variables that you can pass on to the task that you're triggering, and they'll be passed as %par1 and %par2. And as you can see, all lowercase. So the information is passed to the task that you're opening, but then it's dropped. It's not held in memory. So we're going to pass that variable we just created, which is alarm count, all lowercase. We're going to take that variable and we're going to pass whatever information is in there, we're going to pass it to the task that we're triggering as a parameter. It'll be %par1. So now once that's done and this scene is destroyed, alarm count with all lowercase no longer exists. It goes away. And that's fine because we've passed the information we needed from it to the task that needs it using the parameter. So now all we have to do is back out of the scene and go over to task, to the task that we are triggering, which is this one. And remember, we flashed alarm count just as a sort of a tester to make sure we're getting the right information. So now actually we're going to destroy that completely, because what are we passing it as? We're passing it as %par1. So %par1 is coming over into this task, so we'll flash what is held there, just so we know the right thing is coming over. And then with the variable set, we no longer need alarm count. Instead, we'll use par1, because that is what we're passing. It is a parameter, stands for parameter 1. That is a parameter that we're passing from the task that or scene that triggered this task. Everything else is pretty much the same. Everything else works just as it always did. We already previously used alarm time with all lowercase letters because it's a local variable that only needs to be used during this task. And once this task has set that alarm, that information doesn't need to be held in memory anymore. So all lowercase, it drops out. Now we've done the same thing with alarm count. Alarm count is lowercase. When that scene closes, that variable goes away. The information that was there, though, is passed to this task as %par1, which is used in this task, but then also then passes away. Doesn't work any differently than it did before, but what it does do is it makes it so that we don't hold that variable information in memory when we don't need it. Now, it's not probably that big of a deal unless you're doing a ton of Tasker profiles, and I mean a lot. It's probably not going to affect anything to hold one tiny piece of information into variable. But it's just good practice to be doing it the way that is ideal. And ideally, if information is not needed outside of the task, then you don't want to put it in a global variable. So that's why I wanted to show it to you guys. So let's just give it a test and make sure that it's working the way it should. Let's set an alarm for 10 hours. Set alarm. You see it flash 10 as the %par1, and then it flashed the hour a minute, and it says an alarm is set for 10 hours from now. If we, that's Tasker, that's not where I want to go. If we go into alarm set, you can see it set an alarm for 10 hours from now. So as you can see, it works exactly the way it did before. It doesn't change anything about the function as far as how it works. It's just better programming practice, and I just wanted you guys to know and sort of understand that when you can use local variables. The only time you need to use a global variable is, say, if we were going to use this information, the alarm count variable, in some other profile, some other task that wasn't necessarily directly connected. So maybe we have an alarm that goes off in the morning, and we have another profile set up that when that alarm goes off, it uses the alarm count variable to, I don't know, do something or let us know something. So then you would want it to be global, because you would have to have that information available for this other task that isn't directly connected. But when the information is just being used in the profile and in the task, it's better to stick to local variables, all lowercase, and just pass information over. So I wanted to show that to you guys. Hopefully that's something that proves a little bit useful, and something I think I did my best to explain it well. If you have any questions or you don't quite understand, feel free to post in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have, or maybe someone else will, and try to help you out. But I think it's pretty simple to understand. Local variables using just connected tasks. Global variables, stored information, can be used anywhere at any time because it's never erased. Anyway, that's it for this lesson. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, click that like button, share it with anyone you know who might be interested. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Check out all my other Tasker tutorials. If you haven't done that, you should start with lesson 1 and move forward. Best way to really learn and master Tasker will take some time, as anything does, but if you put in the time, you'll get really good at it and be able to do some really cool stuff on your phone. And check out my other playlist. I've got product reviews, lots of gadgets and electronics and Android phone and tablet accessories, as well as household products and dog products and stuff like that. So check that out. And also my Android app review playlist with tons of Android app reviews. No games, just apps that I think help make your phone better. And then also my Android car tablet series, where I took an Android tablet and turned it into the ultimate car infotainment system. That might interest you as well. Anyway, that's going to be it until next time. So have fun with Tasker.